This is CBC Here and Now.
Snowball fights, sledding, snowboarding, snow angels, and even shoveling. How people on the Avalon Peninsula made out after our first real blast of winter. That's ahead on Here and Now.
So excited. We've been waiting for this since last April.
Skiers and snowboarders on the West Coast are stoked for the snow and the opening of Marble Mountain this week.
It was the most meaningful thing that we could think of that we could do to help kids who otherwise would not have the opportunity.
Keeping his wife's memory alive, we'll take you to Clarenville, where a new rink is being built for the community. Good evening and welcome to Here and Now. Well, snow closed schools, some offices and businesses in eastern Newfoundland today. It wasn't quite as much snow as we were bracing for, but it was enough to get some people outside enjoying the first snow day of this season. Here and Now's Heather Gillis is live with more. So Heather, what was it like out there earlier today?
Well, Carolyn, as you can see, it's still snowing out here now, and earlier this afternoon when we were outside, the roads definitely were a little greasy. And from snowball fights to shoveling, there was no shortage of action out here on the Avalon Peninsula. Schools were deserted today, and so were government offices, as snow swept across the Avalon. But snow means business for some people, like this plow operator clearing streets in Mount Pearl. And the light snow is a little physical activity for others, like Tom Fleming.
Actually, I don't want to use the snowblower, so I just thought I'd hit it in stages and just try and get a little bit of exercise while I was at it.
And how's it going so far?
Really good. I hope it stays like this.
It's a love-hate for me, I guess, because we got a shovel, but I do like the snow, so it's good. I didn't think we'd get one this year yet, so it's good that it's finally here.
What do you like about the snow?
There's everything, really. I've always played hockey, so the snow just kind of signifies that, I guess, that hockey season's here.
It was a day to play for kids like Henry Buett, who had the day off school to make snow angels. What did you think this morning when your parents came in and said, Henry, you have a snow day?
I was jumping around on the couch.
What's your favorite thing about a snow day?
Sledding.
Yeah.
I like it. I don't like school.
What are you doing here with your friends and family?
Going crazy. We're just jumping around in the snow, throwing snowballs at each other.
I was really excited since I got to go outside, maybe relax in my PJs, watch some TV, make some snow angels outside. I thought it would be really fun.
Sounds like a pretty good day.
Oh, yes, it is a pretty good day.
And what are you doing here with your friends today? What are you guys going to spend? You're eating snow.
They're eating snow. Some people are throwing snowballs. They're making snow angels. They're having lots of fun here.
And even the dogs were having fun in the snow. And that's how everything was shaping up out here. Now Ashley Rawweiler is standing by with more of a breakdown on all of this weather. Ashley?
Yeah, how much snow did we actually get? Well, it wasn't nearly as much as first thought earlier today. Just take a look at this number, 8 centimeters. That's all that was recorded at the airport earlier today. But if you take a look at just how much we've seen so far this year, in fact, actually there was a day in November where we saw about 11 centimeters. So not quite the snowiest day of the season, but certainly of the year. January up until this point has only recorded 6.2 centimeters of snow, and so far this season 30.8. So definitely welcome if you're a snow lover, but unfortunately I don't see a whole lot more snow for the Avalon, at least for the foreseeable future. In fact, I see lots of rain in the forecast. Just taking a look at the current conditions out there right now, -4, feeling more like -11, still seeing those flurries out there. Visibility has very much improved and will continue to do so as we head through the night tonight. We may pick up a couple more centimeters, but overall, that is pretty much it. We'll talk about why the snowfall forecast was such a miss when I come up.
Thanks, Ashley. Well, this week's snowfall is great news for Marble Mountain. The hill has been busy preparing for the season and is set to open tomorrow. Here now's Troy Turner dropped by the hill for a look.
There's snow in them hills. Marble Mountain is looking in fine shape for a partial opening on Wednesday. And this weekend, the entire hill is expected to welcome skiers and snowboarders.
So excited. We've been waiting for this since last April. Of course, we opened for the first time this summer ever. We had our first summer of Marble. That was interesting, and now we're excited to be back to what we know the best, which is operating a ski resort in the wintertime.
Snowmaking equipment has been running around the clock for the past week or so. Dustin Parsons says staff are in place and trails are being groomed and shaped for this week's opening.
We have about a dozen guys working outside on the snowmaking and grooming and that operation. And then inside now we have our ski patrollers training. We have our cooks coming in, starting to get the kitchen in line. So right here today we have about 25 people in the house getting ready, and by this weekend we'll have over 100 people on staff.
Parsons says the ski and snowboard community is getting excited for the opening. Season pass holders are up, and they're getting a good response on the new weekend season pass, which is geared towards those unable to ski throughout the week. In places, the snow is several feet deep. On most of the hill, it's a mix of man-made and natural snow, which makes for ideal conditions.
Everything's going to be going full swing by this weekend. Our lessons will be happening. Our group lessons and private lessons will be available. All of our services will be back online, and our restaurant, Bishop's Tavern, will be reopened 7 days a week now as well.
Parsons is confident much of the hill will open Wednesday as planned, with the rest of the mountain open this weekend. And if the amount of snow here at the top of Marble is any indication, that's a pretty safe bet. Skiers in western Newfoundland will be hitting the slopes this week. Troy Turner, CBC News, Marble Mountain, Study Brook.
Well, turning now to fuel prices, the prices of gas and stove oil are down today. Gasoline dropped by just over 7 cents a liter. That puts a liter of gas on the Avalon Peninsula at $1.59. Stove oil is down by more than 11 cents a liter in Newfoundland, but the price of stove oil has increased by nearly 7 cents in western Labrador and Churchill Falls. The Public Utilities Board says the unexpected price adjustment is due to commodity market developments. Well, the number of dogs at the Happy Valley Goose Bay SPCA has more than doubled, and it all happened in just one day. The shelter received 3 calls on Saturday about stray dogs and their puppies. 20 dogs were found under a house in Upper Lake Melville, while 15 more arrived from elsewhere in Labrador. It was a massive influx, 35 dogs in less than 24 hours. As a result, the SPCA isn't accepting any new dogs and is asking for help fostering the animals. Shelters on the island have also agreed to take some of the dogs. Well, sticking with animals in the big land, Mission Kitty is a thrift shop in western Labrador that funds animal charities. And although they've only been open for about 6 months, they've already had to double their store space due to the high demand. Here's an inside look at their new space.
Today we are standing in the Mission Kitty thrift shop. We opened 6 months ago, and we were so excited to have you come back today and for us to tell you about our expansion. Like, this has exceeded our expectations more than I could ever imagine. What started off as a little thrift store auction type thing in my garage went to a store of 1,000 square feet, and in 6 months we expanded another 1,000 square feet. Well, lucky for us, yeah, I'm not happy that Salvation Army thrift store closed, but they donated most of this extra, the shelving racks, some of the other racks here that we could use because they were no longer opening. So, you know, that way we could double our space and have enough fixtures and stuff to put everything out the way we wanted.
I think it's a lot better. It's definitely better for everyone, and there's more space. And I think the thrift shop is really good for the community, so they're doing great.
Okay, so when we opened Mission Kitty Thrift Shop, I was leaning mostly towards, okay, well, this is going to help Mission Kitty. You know, the money we took in was going to fund what I do, my organization. But it has been such a big success. The community support is phenomenal. So now I'm kind of, you know, we're taking things another direction now. Of course, like, the thrift store is going to fund Mission Kitty. You know, for me, the cats come first. But it's going to go. We're putting some of the profits back into the community. I could not do it without my family. My sister is always there at a moment's notice. She does a lot of after-hours work. My mom, she does all the night shifts. She could be here till 12 p.m. My husband and my dad, of course, they do all the renovations. But when I'm here, I love it. People just come in and they're like, wow, we needed this so bad. Somebody wants a dress jacket, they can come in and get it for $5 instead of like a $100 brand new one, because they're probably going to wear it once.
An interesting discovery in Conception Bay North. A researcher at Memorial University has found fossils in Upper Island Cove. Now, they're among the oldest fossils in the world that are visible to the naked eye. Christopher McKean described the significance of this find to our colleagues at the St. John's Morning Show.
Alongside Mistaken Point, Port Union in the Bonavista Peninsula and the surrounding area there, the fossils that we find in Upper Island Cove are of the same time period. And that is a time period called the Ediacaran. And this is a period over 500 million years ago. It's the oldest period in time where we actually have complex fossils that you can see with your own eyes in the fossil record. Before that, it's just small, microscopic, single-celled creatures. But these are the first complex creatures we find anywhere on planet Earth. You do find them globally, but here in Newfoundland in particular, it's the oldest of them. As such, we can't take these creatures from the site, because if we did that, we would destroy the site, we'd ruin the heritage, and we'd also ruin it for future generations as well. And conservation is something we're really keen on. So we make these silicone casts, and this is really the starting point. This is our earliest evidence. So it's really important for us to understand it so we can understand how life has evolved.
There was lots of action in Victoria Park here in St. John's today. People out enjoying this weather, snowboarding, sledding. I'll take you there after the break.
And the good news is we've got a couple days to enjoy this snow before it all melts away. We'll get into the details coming up.
And it's been wonderful to see more people having the opportunity to kind of walk up to a facility like Manuel's River and have a grit freedom chair there for someone to be able to use. You don't have to unload it and load it. You just have to arrive and off you go on some beautiful trails.
Using adaptive equipment to make the outdoors more accessible. That story is coming up in 25 minutes.
6 years since anyone has seen or heard from Jennifer Hillier-Penny.
I'm stuck in the same mental turmoil that I've been in since 2016.
Now police have been given more time to hold on to evidence gathered in the suspected murder. But will it make a difference? That story tomorrow on Here and Now.
Okay, so not quite as much snow as first thought, but I would argue it was still a pretty stormy day out there.
Oh yeah, it's roads were snow covered and
blustery.
Blustery. It was definitely a stormy day for sure. But yes, we didn't see nearly as much snow as originally forecasted, and it simply comes down to the track, and we always talk about that. We talk about how dependent the systems are on the track. And, you know, we are a tiny little island in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. A little shift can make big forecast implications. So let's just take a look at what happened today. Here is the system. There's that area of low pressure offshore. So basically what happened is it just tracked further east and it pulled that snow right along with it. So that's why we saw less. But we do have another little area of low pressure just to the south there, bringing some pretty stormy conditions actually to Cape Breton. That will likely stay to the south, but we may pick up a couple of centimeters from that as we head through the evening hours tonight. There it is there, and it's already bringing some snow to parts of the southern south coast of the island. Otherwise, there's a lot of cold air in play, especially up across Labrador. Overnight lows last night in Lab City down to minus 34, minus 20s pretty much for the rest of the big land, except Nain, you said around minus 16, and then similar temperatures even through low-lying areas through central. Badger minus 18 last night. Same thing for St. Anthony. And then minus single digits, the story across the island. We recovered a little bit today in St. John's, still well below zero though, minus 4 this afternoon, and temperatures up across the big land into the minus teens, but not a whole lot of wind to talk of. In fact, topped out at about 52 kilometers per hour in St. John's. Cape Race though recorded about 80 kilometer per hour winds today, and right now down to about 22 kilometers per hour sustained in St. John's. Bonavista Vista at 37 kilometers per hour. You factor in those wind gusts, it's only 35 kilometers per hour, but as we head through the night tonight, we are going to start to see those winds ease. It is leading to a bit of a wind chill there though, minus 11 in St. John's, minus 13 is what it's feeling like in Twillingate, and then up across the big land, those wind chills somewhere into the minus 20s and minus 30s. But if we take a look at the future wind gusts, like I said, winds will ease as we head through the overnight. Then we turn our attention to northern portions of Labrador. Winds are going to ramp up as we head to tomorrow afternoon and into the evening hours, with those winds gusting potentially as high as about 60 to 80 kilometers per hour. So Environment Canada has issued a blowing snow advisory for that time frame starting tomorrow, pretty much right through the afternoon and evening hours from Nain through to Hopedale, where you are going to pick up some snow as well. So that freshly fallen snow along with those blistery conditions is going to lead to some blowing snow. As far as tonight is concerned, there's that secondary area of low pressure. If it tracks this far north, we will likely see a couple of centimeters associated with that, likely just in the metro area, a trace to maybe 2 centimeters at the most. Overnight temperatures will dip yet again for Lab City down to minus 28 with that potential for some flurries. And then as far as the island is concerned, minus double digits, Corner Brook, minus 10, minus 15 in St. Anthony. And then we're going to see those temperatures dipping into the minus 9 degree range for Gander and minus 5 for St. John. So we'll only lose another degree as we head through the night. Tomorrow, there's that snow I was talking about for Nain, and then heading south towards Hopedale as we head into the evening hours. Otherwise, not a whole lot on the go for tomorrow. Maybe a few flurries on the west coast in onshore flow, a few lingering in and around the Avalon tomorrow afternoon, but we might see the sun peek out before the sun sets tomorrow evening. And then as far as that snowfall is concerned up across northern portions of Labrador, we're talking about between 5 to 10 centimeters, maybe a little bit more than that, but at this point that's what it's looking like, and that will fall through the day into your Thursday morning. Temperatures tomorrow looking not too shabby, not much different than today. -3 in St. John's. Those winds a little less. Westerlies between 20 to 40 kilometers per hour. So you will get to enjoy the snow that has fallen, at least for a couple of days. -6 in Clarenville tomorrow. Marystown, you'll hover around -3, likely with a few peaks of sun. As you head towards central, similar temperatures between -6 and -7 along the south coast. Harbour Breton, a few flurries for you, and about -5. West coast looking at those westerly winds as well in that onshore flow. So you're likely going to see some light snow, flurries or light snow, especially in the higher elevations. Temperatures pretty chilly. -7 will be your afternoon high. Even colder for the northern peninsula, southeastern portions of Labrador, but yes, some sunshine through the day. And then as far as Labrador, the rest of Labrador is concerned, your temperatures barely making it out of the -20s. Churchill Falls, that's where you'll sit. Up towards the west, though, Lab West, you're looking at about -18 through the day. And then mild, relatively speaking, for Nain. About -6 will be the afternoon high for you. But again, those temperatures are going to drop and then they're going to warm up. We'll get into those details coming up.
Thanks, Ash. Well, some folks finally got the chance to dust off their snowboards and sleds. Here in Now's Heather Gillis took a tour around town today and met up with some winter warriors who were making the most of the snow that fell. Heather, what did you see out there today?
Yeah, they did indeed, Carolyn. We saw some snowboarders, some sledders, and Victoria Park in St. John's was the place to be for that kind of activity. Take a look.
Just good to get some snow, and me and my friends love snowboarding, so I'm just glad to get outside. Fun to be with the boys.
So you've got a pretty interesting setup here. Tell me what you just did when you went down the hill.
Well, I got an old skateboard, so I don't have a snow skate, so I'm using that. Yeah.
And you had Rowan help you down the hill.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he helps me pick up the extra speed I need for sure. Yeah.
And what about going back up? Does he help you get
He helps a bit. He's a little bit more trouble when there's people around though, so he gets stopped a lot. But you know, he does what he can. So.
So do you have a day off work or school or anything today?
Yeah. I work tomorrow, but I got the day off. I'm a nurse, so I'm just taking the day off and enjoying the snow a little bit. Yeah.
How does it feel to have your first snow day?
Oh, it's great. Long overdue for sure. Long overdue. Yeah.
I'm going sledding with my friends during this weather. It's been really fun.
Do you have a day off school?
Yep.
And what did you think when you heard that school was canceled for a snow day this morning?
I was really happy. I went back to sleep.
And if you didn't get a chance to get out and enjoy any of this snow today, well, maybe over the next couple of days is your best chance, because it looks like this isn't going to stick around forever, because there is rain coming on the weekend. Reporting live in St. John's, I'm Heather Gillis for Here and Now.
Well, construction is almost complete on this new ice rink outside Riverside Elementary School in Clarenville. This is a gift from a local resident to all of the young people in Clarenville. We'll tell you all about it coming up. We're here in Clarenville where work is continuing on this brand new rink outside of Riverside Elementary School. Now this rink is a gift from a local resident to pretty much all of the young people in Clarenville. Joining me now is the Vice Principal of Riverside Elementary, Jill Monk. So can you tell us how all of this came about?
Well, it was really a surprise for us. We had two community members, friends of Mr. Wendell Moore, Jackie and Keith Drudge, visit our school last spring with a proposal. They explained to us that Mr. Moore was looking to do a community project, and he was really interested in doing something that would be a legacy piece for his wife, but would be something that children in the community would benefit. So one of his ideas was an ice rink. So they asked if we thought it would be possible to help make his dream a realization, and wondered if the school would be a possible site for that plan. So it all just kind of went from there, you know, just knowing the backstory and knowing Mr. Moore. It was a no-brainer, obviously, for us to try to make it a reality.
So Wendell, maybe we can start with talking a bit about Myra. I'd like to get to know her a little bit. Can you tell us a bit about her?
Myra, in terms of her personality, was reserved, kind, caring, tolerant, affectionate, and giving. Totally unselfish. She was special, and in addition to that, she was intelligent and beautiful, and she was that way on the inside and outside. Anybody who ever met her would be taken by her smile and her warmth. But she always had a special affection for two groups of people, the elderly people and the young people. And in the model and management of that was always her focus. And that was her focus when she was the mayor here.
Why did you want to gift that rink in her honor?
Well, as I suppose with most Newfoundland and Canadian families, hockey plays and skating plays a big role in all of our lives in one way or another. Mara and I had talked about this before, well before her passing, to help with particularly the kids who did not have, 5 to 11-year-olds, who did not have access for whatever reason to that wonderful, any sport really, but the one I knew best was hockey and skating. I wrote a proposal to Riverside Elementary School and school board. Of course, they engaged, they were over the moon with the project and put it through the hoops and whatever to get it approved.
Is there going to be a name on the rink? Is this going to be named after
Myra?
Myra?
It'll be named in Myra's honor, of course, as you indicated earlier, the Myra Moore Memorial Rink.
I know you and Myra didn't have any children of your own. So why are you focused so much on giving this gift to children?
I think it's just part of her human compassion and seeing the need. There are an awful lot of needs in our society, but there's only so much you can do, of course, as one person. But the focus, like I said, Myra's thinking was always for the elderly and the younger. And so for that particular group, it was the most meaningful thing that we could think of that we could do to help kids who otherwise would not have the opportunity.
The work really seems to be coming along here. It's really taking shape. Can you talk about the logistics of putting something like this together?
So I have to say Mr. Moore and Joe Brewer have been an integral part in all the actual building of the site. For us, it was just a matter of keeping our children in some days when they would have liked to have been outside, but they've totally taken care of all the construction. So once we had all our approvals and support from the school board, it was just full steam ahead.
Mm-hmm. And what has the reaction been from the children knowing that this is going to be here?
Well, at first, I'm not really sure they knew what was going on. We kind of kept it a little bit of a secret at first, but now they're certainly getting excited knowing that the end of the project's near and they'll soon get to use the rink for skating. And then in the spring and summer, we plan to use it for some ball hockey and soccer as well.
It's fantastic. It's beautiful. It's a nice big space. There are some lights up there. It looks like it's going to be beautiful when it's finished.
It is. It's really going to be amazing. Like, what an addition to our school community and just our community as a whole. It's a fantastic gift for sure.
And a lovely tribute to Wendell's late wife.
Yes, absolutely. You know, to Mr. Moore and his wife never had children, so to want to do a project to benefit children, I think is just so wonderful.
And how much longer is it going to be before the rink is finished?
Well, of course, that's weather pending now, but we're hoping within the next few weeks to have the project completed and be able to get the ice on. And then we'll make plans, of course, for a special opening for the facility and to get all our children out for a chance to skate. So, and I do anticipate we'll see Mr. Moore around for sure. And, you know, obviously we can't thank him enough and Joe Brewer enough for making this a reality for our children.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Kim White. We're at Manuel's River Interpretation Center and we're about to take the Grit Freedom Chair for a little stroll around the trails.
Making trails more accessible with the right equipment. Meet two women who are ensuring that gear is available to others. That's next.
So I've added disabilities.
Well, 2 women have teamed up to test out adaptive equipment on the Avalon. It's all about making spaces more accessible to people with disabilities and creating opportunities for more people in the community to enjoy the outdoors. Here now, Zach Gowdy brings us this feature report.
When you're outdoors, on a hike, on a trail, it's so wide open that it's easy to forget there are barriers to places like this, to having the outdoors as an accessible part of your life. But today we're going to meet some folks who are working to make sure places like this are accessible to more people, no matter how they move through them.
I grew up in rural Newfoundland. Like, one side of our house was in the beach. I was literally like 20 feet from the beach and I was never in there, so I never felt welcome. I never felt like it was a place that I could experience. Hi, I'm Kim White. We're at Manuel's River Interpretation Center and we're about to take the Grit Freedom Chair for a little stroll around the trails.
Have you ever been out in this chair on these trails?
I've never been in the Grit Freedom Chair on these trails. I've been in the Freedom Chair before on many different trails, but never here, so this is exciting to be here today. So I've had a disability since I was 3. Most of my life I used braces and crutches. Coming here and doing things like the Grit Chair helps replace that exercise that I can no longer get, but also gets me outside, which is something that I really didn't get throughout my life because of the limitations of my braces and crutches. People weren't really giving me options, and I didn't know really where to turn to figure out how to get out and about, but TA's been wonderful in helping me explore all kinds of options around that.
Hi, my name is T.A. Loeffler and I'm a professor in the School of Human Kinetics and Recreation at Memorial University, and one of my missions is to get people outdoors. Being outdoors ever since I was a kid has been intensely meaningful. In middle age, started climbing mountains as kind of a midlife crisis, so I've been working my way through the 7 summits and made a few attempts on Everest, and gained a lot by having a focus and a dedication to a big outdoor pursuit. And I think that's what I've brought also to this pursuit of wanting to broaden the spaces that folks can have access to.
How did you turn your attention then to making the outdoors more accessible to more people?
You know how it is sometimes at the end of a budgetary year, someone says, we've got a pool of money. And I had heard about a piece called The Trail Rider, coming out of British Columbia, the British Columbia Outdoor Mobility Society. So I said to my dean, can I have one? Because in case I ever have a student who lives with a disability in my program, I don't want it to be a big deal. I want to be ready to go. And he said, yes, let's get this, but I don't want it to sit idle. I want you to use it in the community. I want you to engage with it. So here we are negotiating a piece of the trail. Well, Kim's negotiating it. I'm just walking beside filming at the moment.
So TA was looking for someone to test out the Trail Rider with, and we have a personal connection, and so she reached out and said, would I be interested?
So Kim and I experimented and kind of learned the kind of trails it could go on, and we have a variety of pieces of equipment that we've been out with, a hippocamp and the Trail Rider and the Grit Freedom Chair. And whenever we go out in public, it's almost like our outreach project. As we used it more, people reached out to me and said, we have this facility. What do you think would be the most appropriate piece of equipment that we first acquire or second acquire? And then I could sort of do some education around, this is what this one can do, this is whose needs it might meet. Manuel's River was an early adopter of bringing in a Grit Freedom Chair, and then the Botanical Garden, some of the national parks in the province. It's amazing, just truly amazing to see the access grow and grow and grow.
Of course, outdoor accessibility is about more than just buying the right equipment. For people who are the stewards of outdoor spaces like this, it's also about a different mindset, a different way of looking at what was always right in front of you.
So hi, I'm Janet Rumsey, and I'm the Executive Director here at Manuel's River.
We have a beautiful trail system that runs along the river system. Very picturesque. You forget where you are. People are on our trails and they're like hard to believe we're actually so close to St. John's. You feel like it's really an escape from your everyday.
How did you guys used to think about accessibility of these trails? Was it even something that came into your thought process?
The organization started in 1989, and at that point it was about cleaning up the river and then putting a trail in place. So as the mindset has changed over the years. What this has done has made our trails even more inclusive. When we built our outdoor classroom, we wanted to make sure it was level to the ground, so that was accessible. So we totally look at everything differently now.
And it's been wonderful to see more people having the opportunity to kind of walk up to a facility like Manuel's River and have a grit freedom chair there for someone to be able to use. You don't have to unload it and load it. You just have to arrive and off you go on some beautiful trails.
How did it feel for you to suddenly be able to get out into places that you said never really felt like your domain?
Once I got out in nature, I felt like this is where I belong. So when people were saying, like, what does it feel like? It feels joyful. And what does that joy feel like for me? I don't know, because what feels joyful for you and what feels joyful for me might be different things, but joy is joy. And when I'm out in nature, I feel joyful and happy and excited and want to get out again.
An apparent shipwreck is attracting a lot of attention in part of Prince Edward Island. It first appeared over the holidays, and locals say it's in the same spot as another wreck that surfaced 10 years ago. But as quickly as it appeared, it's disappearing again. The CBC's Nancy Russell has that story.
Brendan Peters lives not far from the beach where the wooden shape appeared the week after Christmas. There were photos shared on social media and lots of people came to have a look for themselves. That started a debate about what the wooden pieces could be. Was it a shipwreck or an old wharf?
So I started putting in my little 2 cents worth, and I was saying, well, some people say, no, it's part of an old wharf. And I was saying, well, I never ever seen a wharf in the shape of a bow.
Peters remembers the last time the sands drifted away many years ago, revealing the wooden structure below.
So my brother Norman Peters, aka the bearded skipper, had took quite an interest in it. So he did some research and he got some people to look at it, and they come back with the finding that it was an old schooner that had went aground here in 1879. It was the Carrie F. Butler. So that's what it was, with 300 barrels of mackerel on.
Brendan Peters did some research to find out more.
They had an auction right here on the beach, right there. Anything that was left on board, this is what I researched, they sold.
Prince Edward Island has a rich history of shipwrecks that appear on beaches and then disappear, including this one in Lakeside in 2020 and this one in French River in 2007.
We went out to see it and it was all sitting up on top of the sand all nicely. And then whenever we went out to get it, it was buried, so we had to spend 3 weeks digging it up out of the sand.
This is a piece from that shipwreck in 2007. Jason McNeil says the fact that shipwrecks appear and disappear adds to their mystique.
That's kind of what the sea and the sand do, right? They kind of expose things temporarily, and then before you know it, it's all shifted and everything is gone again.
Things are shifting again here on North Rustico Beach, just like the last time.
Well, I came down Saturday and there was people buzzing around. I said, well, where is it? I said, well, it's buried most of it, but you can see it right here, part of it. So she said, oh, that's what it is. I said, well, we can make the outline of the bow. But if you would have been here December 26th, you would have seen the whole thing.
Peters says the wooden pieces are disappearing back into the sand. This may be the last glimpse of them, at least for now. Nancy Russell, CBC News, North Rustico.
Well, from a sandy beach to a city street, no engine, no transmission, no problem. 2 hydrogen-powered buses will soon be hitting the roads in Edmonton, and as Julia Wong reports, there are high hopes riding on the city's pilot project in the new year.
This Edmonton transit bus looks and feels like your average bus, but there's one major difference: It's powered by hydrogen.
There's no engine, there's no transmission.
This big black fuel cell uses hydrogen and oxygen to create energy to drive the bus. There are 0 emissions. The byproducts, heat and water.
These are ways for us to have sustainable fuel, really look at climate action, and put a big punch into that.
For 1 year, the city will track how the bus handles distances and Alberta's extreme temperatures.
It's certainly part of our desire to be emissions neutral by 2050.
On a full tank, this bus would be able to run between 300 and 480 kilometers, the same as a regular diesel bus.
Hydrogen is on fire right now globally.
Brian Helfenbaum says $500 billion of hydrogen projects have been announced worldwide in the last few years. Alberta has vast reserves of natural gas, which can be converted into hydrogen. The province is aiming to become a hydrogen hub.
We already have the technologies in place to make it, to move it, and to use it. Ultimately, hydrogen could supply essentially all of our heavy haul vehicles and our trains and our ships and our planes.
12 years ago, BC scrapped 20 hydrogen buses because of costs. Experts say the technology has matured. Safety has also been addressed over the years, and the time is now ripe.
In Canada, we have about 4,000 people currently employed in the clean hydrogen sector. We expect to see that to grow by orders of magnitude as we're able to displace more polluting forms of energy.
If things go well with the pilot, there's potential to transition the bus fleet and perhaps an identity.
Changing that concept of oil country to a sustainable fuel is something, people don't often get an opportunity to kind of be a part of. And it starts with one bus, but we're looking at many things beyond that.
And all that starts when the hydrogen buses hit the road in February. Julia Wong, CBC News, Edmonton.
Interesting. Well, the North American Leaders Summit kicked off today in Mexico City. Mexican President Andrés Manuel López Obrador is playing host to Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and U.S. President Joe Biden. The trio have a number of items on the agenda, including trade, supply chain issues, migration, energy issues, and their commitment to defending North America. Earlier, Trudeau met face-to-face with Joe Biden. The pair talked about a range of matters from the Nexus Traveler program to the security situation in Haiti and green energy. Biden says he will be making his first official visit to Canada as president in March. Well, Prince Harry's memoir, Spare, is now the fastest-selling nonfiction book in the UK ever, according to the publisher. Released officially today after last week's leaked copies, it's a highly anticipated account of his life within the royal family and his much publicized exit. A few bookstores in Britain opened at midnight to sell to diehard royal fans. Some revelations and accusations were already splashed across the media last week after the book accidentally hit the shelves in Spain early. The pages reveal his grief after the death of his mother, Princess Diana, his mental struggles, and drug use. There are also details about the alleged disagreements with brother Prince William over Harry's marriage to Meghan. So far, there's been no comment from Buckingham Palace. Well, this next story is definitely for book lovers. A ship literally carrying thousands of stories has just docked in Egypt. No word on if this ship is carrying Prince Harry's book, but you're looking at the largest floating international book fair as it recently pulled into Port Said. Its long-standing mission is to promote knowledge and diversity. The crew is made up of volunteers from dozens of nations and wear their traditional costumes, welcomed visitors on board. The ship offers a selection of about 5,000 different titles in a vast array of subjects, both in Arabic and English. Coming up on Labrador Morning tomorrow, the federal advocate says housing in Nunatsiavut continues to be a human rights violation. They'll connect with John Abbott to hear more about his tour and talk housing on the North Coast. And on Newfoundland Morning, listeners will hear from a finance expert about investing your money. It's not just for the wealthy. Anyone can start with a small amount and actually see some results. That's tomorrow. Well, time for a look at the weather. And I must say, looking back on all the people that we talked to on the show tonight about the weather today, lots of positivity, a lot of people really happy that we got the snowfall that we did. How long is it going to be sticking around before we see that changeover?
We're going to get about 2 solid days of enjoying the snow, let's just say that, and actually some pretty cold temperatures as well. So the snow is going to get crunchy, which I don't know about you, but that is my favorite type of snow when it, you know, it's cold enough that the snow is crunchy. Anyway, if you like it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Let's take a look at what's going on over the next couple of days. Wednesday evening into Thursday morning. Not a whole lot to talk about. Just some snow again up across Labrador, central Labrador. We'll see that. And then potentially some onshore flurries continuing for the west coast. Otherwise, we're looking at some sunshine through the day through a good chunk of the island. And look at those temperatures, -7, -8, a little warmer, -5 for the south coast of the island. And then as far as Labrador is concerned, going to hang on to those cold temperatures in Lab City. -20 will be your daytime high. And then again, minus single digits towards the coast. So a bit of a warm up as we head into Thursday for those of you towards the coast. And then as we head into Thursday evening and Friday, again, not a pretty quiet day, maybe some flurries again moving across Labrador as we head into the afternoon hours along the strait as well, but we're starting to edge into that southerly flow, and you know what that means. That means some temperatures are going to warm up. So as the day progresses, we'll likely see some flurries and or light snow develop along the west coast out ahead of this next weather maker. But as we get into the warmer air mass, the snow will change over to rain. But for the first half of the day, actually looking pretty nice. -3 in St. John's, lots of sunshine, and then we're going to see that snow move in, and then things will change. But these are going to be where we're going to sit. In fact, temperatures are actually going to warm up as we head through the evening hours on Friday. Up across Labrador, generally looking at some sunshine, but again, that snow will move in for central Labrador as we head into the day on Friday. So let's take a look at what's going to happen. Future tracker showing that most will see that transition through some freezing rain to rain on Saturday. Northern Peninsula and then southeastern portions of Labrador, this should be snow at the moment. There are many days to figure this out, but at this point, that's what it's looking like. And this area of low pressure is going to stick around through the weekend. So we could be talking about transitions to rain, freezing rain, back to rain, freezing rain through parts of central and Green Bay, White Bay. So this is definitely a system to keep an eye on. The eastern half of the island, it's gonna be rain, and that's because temperatures are going to be well above zero. It's about 8 degrees. Windy conditions associated with this one as well. For central Newfoundland, 9-10 degrees, but I'm keeping that wintry mix in there because look at those overnight lows. There's lots to iron out with this one, but this is the system at the moment. And then for western Newfoundland, you're looking at a similar forecast. So 6 to 9 degrees through the daytime. But again, we might be talking about some freezing rain. Now for eastern Labrador, some flurries for the day on Saturday. Sunday looks nice at this point, and then a nice stretch of weather for western Labrador with your temperatures hovering in the minus teens. Just wanted to share this spot talking about the big land. This is a nice shot. Some winter camping on a clear, crisp evening in southern Labrador. Thank you to Brendan for that. If you have any weather photos that you would like to share with us, send them to Facebook, Twitter, or email them to nlphotos@cbc.ca.
Well, I bet there's lots of crunchy snow in Labrador right now. I wonder if they're going ice fishing.
Probably. I'd say they are.
You've been ice fishing before,
Oh my
right?
goodness, lots of times. I love it.
Yeah, you spent a long time up north.
Yeah, a couple years, yeah.
All right, well, that's it for us tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. Hope you can join us again tomorrow.
Good night.